This is a tape recorder. This is another tape recorder. And this is a reel-to-reel tape recorder. As you can see, I have many tape recorders, each with their own distinctive sound, but I don't have anything quite like this. Or at least I didn't, until just now. A funny thing just happened to me. I was walking down the street with some friends, and a guy was sitting at a cafe with, like, a bicycle wagon next to him. And in the bicycle wagon was this beautiful, old, dusty 4-track recorder. And I said something to him like, "Cool recorder, man," or something like that. And he immediately said, "Do you want it?" We got to talking, and he said, "Everything in the wagon is up for grabs. I'm giving it all away." So after thanking this extremely kind person profusely, I brought it home. And now I'm dutifully trying to get all of the cat hairs out of the faders so that I can give it a spin. Let's take a look. Before I can get started, I need a tape. According to the manual, the kind of tape we really need is called Type 2. These aren't still made, of course, but there are people who still have new, unopened cassettes that they've been hoarding in a warehouse somewhere, and you can buy them on eBay for about $10. This is a weird feeling. I haven't bought a new cassette in a long, long time. Okay, let's give this thing a spin. My plan is just to record a few violin notes, just to get a sense of whether or not this even works. The guy who gave this to me mentioned that there was something wrong with it. I remember him saying, if you have a soldering iron, you can fix it. But I was so dazed by the whole experience that I failed to pay any attention. Okay, let's start recording. Okay, that should be enough for a test. Time to rewind the tape. Let's see if any of that recorded. I can't believe it works, and it actually sounds pretty cool. It's actually surprisingly quiet. It sounds much cleaner than I expected. The cassette recorders I usually use for lo-fi audio experiments are just these crummy handheld devices, and their shoddy sound quality is kind of the selling point. I wasn't expecting the clarity I would get from a better quality tape deck. Okay, let's record another track on top of this. I love the way this sounds. I'm going to record some more notes and make a sample library out of this. In the meantime, let's keep exploring this machine. As it happens, this is one of the better cassette 4-tracks. It has a bunch of fancy features like an effects loop and bussing, but the thing that I'm probably most excited about is the speed control. So far, I've been recording on high tape speed. The faster you run the tape through the 4-track, the better the sound quality you get. Right now we're on high speed. I'm going to switch the tape speed selector to low speed. Yeah, it plays an octave below. There's also this pitch control. I'm going to switch us back to low speed. Let's try out the pitch control. Let's see what happens when we add that other note into the mix. Oh, that's really cool. I'm obviously going to have to sample that as well. Okay, so a week has passed. I have, in fact, sampled my violin and turned it into a sample library. The first part of that library is what you're hearing right now. This is the core sample set, which consists of these long, drawn-out notes. The bowings are intentionally left in to keep it sounding as natural and organic as possible. There are 5 different versions of this patch. In this version, you can use the modulation wheel to morph between the velocity layers, like I'm doing right now. Then there's a version where you just use regular MIDI velocity to control the dynamics. There's also a simulated legato patch that only allows you to play one note at a time. There are also trio and ensemble patches which have a larger number of violins in them. And finally, my favorite version of the core sample set is this one, which I recorded at half speed. I just think it sounds really beautiful. Recording a sample library is a strange, meditative process. I usually spend hours, sometimes days, playing the same notes over and over again, in the hope that, at the end of it all, I'll have a collection of sounds that can be stitched together into a brand new, playable instrument. In the case of this sample library, I only had 14 minutes of tape to work with. That's because, when recording at high speed, the 4-track uses tape much faster than a traditional cassette recorder. So I played 4 G sharps, then 4 C sharps, then 4 F sharps, and so on and so forth, up through the entire range of the violin. Then I switched violins and repeated the process on another track. So that's how I made the first part of this library. But what about the second? Well, a secondary byproduct of this recording process is the tape itself, which is now filled up with all of the notes I played and has itself become a sort of musical instrument, an instrument I play with the mixer on the left-hand side. Since the 4 tracks on this tape were recorded independently of each other, and since I didn't actually record the notes in the same order in all 4 takes, as I lift up the fader, I never know exactly what note will come out. Will it form a chord with the notes that are already playing? Or will it be dissonant? The final piece in the puzzle is the microcosm effects unit. Even though the notes from the tape may only ring out for a brief time, the microcosm, which is essentially a fancy delay pedal, keeps the notes around for much longer. This causes them to intersect with new notes that might be coming from the tape. I'm surprised. I find working with this 4-track to be really pleasant. This isn't my first time using one, but in the past, whenever I've tried to record songs on one of these things, I always found the workflow so frustrating. I think now, treating it as an instrument in and of itself allows me to break free of the purpose it was designed for. You know, using it as a way of generating sound instead of just capturing it. I've taken the best of these magical sounds and turned them into a series of experimental presets. There are 12 in all, but each of these actually contains 2 complementary sample sets. In the user interface, there's a morph knob, which allows you to fade between the 2 paired sample sets. I'm really excited about these sounds. This library, Tape Violins, is on sale right now via the Decent Samples website. There's an introductory price. Currently it's $20 for the next 2 weeks, and after that it goes up to the list price, which is $40. As I hinted earlier, there is also a version of this for patrons, which is called Cassette Violin Experiments. And it's actually a completely different library than what I'm selling on the Decent Samples site. It doesn't even use the same violin. The patron version consists of my initial experiments, which used the Lewis Pyle violin. It also comes with a half-speed version and a couple of heavily morphed experimental versions as well. To get the patron version, you'll want to sign up for the Patreon. It's just $5 and you'll get an exclusive sample library at the end of each month. Okay, I think that's it. If you enjoyed this video, it'd be great if you could give it a like. Also, if you haven't already, now is a great time to subscribe. I've got a bunch of exciting videos on the way. Okay, see you soon.